Success is not chasing you. Success is sitting where the laws are kept, waiting for you to arrive. Write this down and send it to somebody. Success follows laws. Say it again with me. Success is not a pursuit. Success is a result. What did I say? Say it out loud. Success is not a pursuit. Success is a result. I'm not guessing. I'm teaching you what took me decades to prove. Failure is not a mystery either. It is the result of violated laws. Gravity does not hate you if you jump off a roof. Gravity is faithful. The seed is not prejudiced against the cement. It just knows the law of soil. In other words, life is lawful. The psalmist said, his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. Whatever he does prospers. Psalm 1, did you hear the word law? Not vibes, not crystals, law. Joshua 1-8 says, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. Then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Reverse the verse, and it still works. If you neglect the law, you frustrate your way and forfeit success. In other words, success is predictable because it follows laws, not luck. Tweet that to somebody right now. Please write this down. You do not attract success by wishing. You attract success by becoming lawful in character, lawful in thinking, and lawful in practice. Your life is a magnet, but magnets don't pull wood. They pull what they are designed to pull. Prayer is powerful, but prayer is not a substitute for principles. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at ignorance. Even Jesus said, do not think that I came to abolish the law. Whoever practices and teaches these commandments will be called great. Matthew 5. Greatness is attached to practice, not preference. I came tonight with a gentle rebuke and a powerful promise. Stop blaming demons for decisions that break laws. Some of the laziest people in the world are religious people because they think emotion replaces execution. Not in this house. This teaching is about identity transformation. We are moving you from wishing to governing, from talking to taking responsibility, from manifesting to managing. I am installing an operating system in your soul that respects law. When you become lawful, success stops hiding. It finds you where the laws are. Say this after me and write it in your notes in big bold letters. Success follows laws. What did I say? Tell your neighbor, tell your group chat, tell your future self. Success follows laws. If you embrace that sentence, this entire series will make sense, because I am not here to entertain you. I am here to align you. Once aligned, you don't chase outcomes. Outcomes chase obedience. Now lean in, write this down, and say it back to me. You don't break laws, laws break you. What did I say? Say it louder. That one sentence will save you years of confusion. Laws are not emotional. They are consistent. Gravity doesn't hate you. Gravity holds the universe together and will kindly introduce you to the pavement if you challenge it from a 10th floor balcony. You don't need to believe in gravity for it to work. Laws function with or without your faith. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. Genesis 8:22. That's a law. Tweet this right now. Judgment is built into the law. Let me make it plain with an analogy chain. If you jump off a building, you do not fall because the devil pushed you. You fall because you violated the law governing mass and acceleration. If you plant corn and pray for mangoes, you do not reap weeds because God is ignoring you. You reap corn because the seed testifies in court. I only produce after my kind. If you misuse your body, neglect rest, abuse food, and then bind calories in Jesus' name, the bathroom scale is not a demon, it is a witness of law. Galatians 6-7 says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Reverse the verse, and it still works. What you don't sow, you cannot reap. In other words, most outcomes are not personal. They are lawful consequences. Some of you have been calling it a spiritual attack when it was a budget you never made. You called it bad luck when it was lateness you normalized. Oh dear, talk to me now. The bank does not speak in tongues. It speaks in terms. Principles don't care about your playlist. They care about your practice. Stop blaming seasons for seeds you never sowed. Stop making the devil omnipresent when discipline is absent. Please write this down. Confusion leaves when law is known. Here's my pastoral challenge to you. This will sting, but it will heal. Stop asking God to suspend laws, asking for wisdom to learn and obey laws. James 1-5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and it will be given. Wisdom is not a magic wand. Wisdom is the map of laws. The miracle you need most is not God breaking his own order. It is God opening your understanding to align with it. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer alone. It comes by practicing principles consistently. Prayer is the power to obey, not the permit to disobey. Lift your right hand and declare, from today, I stop taking consequences personally and I start taking law seriously. One more time. Because when you align with law, outcomes lose their mystery. The fish prospers in water by law, the seed prospers in soil by law, and you will prosper in purpose by law. Judgment is built into the law, and so is reward. Obey it, and success stops feeling random. It becomes your harvest. Lean in, write this down, and say it back to me. Rules can comfort you. Laws can carry you if you obey them. What did I say one more time? Most good people fail not because they are evil, but because they are loyal to rules and casual with laws. Rules are man-made, local, cultural, and changeable. Laws are God-embedded, universal, constant, and consequence-based. A rule can be bent, amended, repealed. A law cannot be negotiated. It must be obeyed or it enforces itself. Tweet that to somebody. Laws don't need police. They have consequences. Let me make it plain. No shoes, no service is a rule. The law of gravity is a law. A dress code at the office is a rule. The law of sowing and reaping is a law. A bank's open hours are rules. The law of management that increases what you handle well is a law. You can keep the rule of being early to a church event and still violate the law of diligence on your assignment. You can master religious routines and ignore the law of planning. Oh, dare, talk to me. Some of you have become faithful to traditions, but unfaithful to truth. Please write this down. Rules protect culture. Laws produce outcomes. Jesus confronted this trap in Matthew 15. He asked, why do you transgress the commandment of God because of your tradition? In other words, you're keeping your rules and breaking God's law. Then in Matthew 5, he says, do not think that I came to abolish the law. I came to fulfill. That means if you want to be like Jesus, you must be willing to confront rules that contradict laws and fulfill laws even when it breaks tradition. Here is a provocative line. Write it down and shout it. Successful people break the rules for the sake of the law. I did not say break the law. I said break the rules that hinder truth, excellence, and purpose. Good people still fail because they think morality substitutes for mastery. You can be nice and still be non-compliant with law. You can pray loud and mismanage quietly. You can sing on key and live off course. The usher badge is a rule. The stewardship of time is a law. Lateness breaks the law of honor. Waste breaks the law of increase. Neglect breaks the law of harvest. Judgment is built into the law, and so is reward. If you obey, the law carries you like a river. If you resist, it rearranges you like a storm. Write this down. Rules change with locations. Laws travel with you. You can move cities and keep the same lateness and meet the same consequences. You can switch churches and keep the same mismanagement and meet the same lack. Shortcuts feel exciting, but the longest way to success is the shortcut. In other words, stop asking which rules to follow and start asking which laws to obey. So here is the real question we must answer as we move forward. What kind of person lives in harmony with laws? Not a religious performer, but a principled governor of self. Lift your hand and declare, I am becoming a lawful person. Because once identity aligns with law, you won't just be a good person, you will be a fruitful one. Write this down and say it back to me. Success is not being better than people, it is being faithful to purpose. What did I say one more time? If you don't fix the definition, you will chase the wrong scoreboard and call it destiny. Success is measured not by comparison to others, but by completion of assignment. In other words, God will not ask, were you better than her? He will ask, did you finish what I sent you to do? Paul did not say, I beat Peter. He said, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4:7. Tweet this. Success is not competition. It is completion. Please write this down. Applause is not evidence of assignment. You can be clapped for and still be off course. Matthew 25 is clear. Well done, good and faithful servant. Not well known. The master judged each servant by what was entrusted to them, not by what the neighbor produced. Romans 12 says we have gifts differing according to the grace given. Differing. That means your grace creates your lane, and your lane defines your measure. When you copy another man's grace, you become illegal in your own destiny. Let me illustrate with a simple law of environment. A fish is brilliant, aerodynamic, gorgeous. Put it on the beach, and the applause of tourists won't help it breathe. Pain is often the protest of misplacement. The fish is not broken, it's just out of law. Put that same fish back in the water and it becomes a champion without a workshop. In other words, you are not failing, you might be out of environment. God sets the members, each one of them in the body just as he pleased. 1 Corinthians 12:18. If he sets you, your breath is in your placement. Write this down. Purpose is not what you decide, it's what you discover. Ephesians 2:10 says, we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Beforehand. That means success is walking in what was written, not inventing something impressive. Jeremiah 29:11 echoes it. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you. So shift your identity language right now. Move from I wish to I was made for. Say it. Move from trying to training. Trying is emotional. Training is intentional. Trying hopes. Training schedules. Trying is public. Training is private. Tweet that to somebody. Here is the relief. Once purpose is clear, laws stop feeling like pressure and start functioning like a pathway. The same tracks that limit a train are the tracks that make it fast. Laws are not your prison. They are your rails. Write this down. Laws liberate purpose. When you know why you exist, you want boundaries because they focus your power. Then the real question becomes, what kind of person does purpose reward? Not the jealous observer, but the disciplined steward. Lift your hand and declare, I will not measure my life by others. I will finish my assignment, because the day you embrace that, success ceases to be a mystery and begins to be your mandate. Now that purpose has been brought out of the fog, we must deal with identity, because purpose rides on who you are becoming. Write this down. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Say it out loud. What did I say? Your life is magnetized by your identity, not your wishes. A magnet does not pull wood because wood is not of its nature. In the same way, you can want excellence and attract chaos if chaos is your daily nature. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Not as he posts, not as he promises, as he is. Identity is the hidden law behind attraction. Let me confront this gently but surgically. Desire without design produces disappointment. Write that down and tweet it. Prayer without principles produces frustration. You can fast 40 days and still be late every day. Heaven will admire your hunger and the market will fine you for your habits. Oh dear, talk to me. Jesus said, by their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:20. Reverse the verse. Where there is no consistent fruit, there is no consistent root. Want is not a seed. Work is a seed. Wishes are not laws. Habits are laws. Harvest doesn't follow hope. Harvest follows seed. Here's a diagnostic, and I want you to treat it like a mirror. Look at your calendar. Those entries are your true priorities. Look at your spending. Those numbers reveal your values. Look at your relationships. Those names forecast your future. Amos 3:3 asks, can two walk together except they be agreed? In other words, attraction is agreement. If you walk with complainers, you're agreeing with smallness. If your money keeps walking to entertainment and never to education, you're agreeing with stagnation. If your calendar protects gossip more than growth, you're agreeing with average. Please write this down. Your calendar is your creed. Your spending is your statement. Your relationships are your runway. Let's do some call and response because I want this welded to your soul. What you tolerate persists. What you practice increases. Say it again, louder. What you tolerate persists. What you practice increases. Tolerate disorganization, and disorganization will renew its lease. Practice diligence, and opportunity will start forwarding your calls. 1 Corinthians 15:33 warns, bad company corrupts good character. Reverse to verse. Good character kept consistently selects better company. Attraction obeys identity. The good news, shout good news, is if outcomes are attracted to identity, then identity can be rebuilt by law. Ephesians 4:23-24 says, be renewed in the spirit of your mind, put on the new man. That's construction language. Romans 12:2 adds, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation is not a mood, it's a method. You don't wait to feel new. You put on the new through laws, purpose clarified, perception corrected, potential cultivated, passion focused, principles embraced, planning executed, people selected, persistence applied, perseverance maintained, and prayer sustaining them all. Success will not flirt with your fantasies. It will follow your formation. Bees find flowers with nectar. Opportunities find people with stewardship. Write this down. Harvests have a homing device for lawful stewards. Lift your right hand and declare, from today, I stop wishing and I start forming. I will be the kind of person my purpose rewards. Because when you become lawful in identity, you don't chase outcomes. Outcomes recognize their owner and come home. Now we begin the inner government. Write this down. Success starts inside before it is seen outside. Say it back to me. Success starts inside. The first three laws are purpose, perception, and potential. These are not suggestions. These are statutes for your soul. If you install them, your life will stop wobbling and begin to run on rails. Law has shown is purpose. Purpose answers the question, what problem was I born to solve? Tweet that. Success begins with a problem, not a platform. Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. Problem defined, assignment executed. Ephesians 2:10 declares, we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Beforehand, you are not an accident, you are an answer. David didn't volunteer for fame, he volunteered for a problem named Goliath. Joseph did not audition for a palace, he interpreted the problem of famine. Please write this down, and I want you to actually do it. One sentence that becomes your compass. My purpose solves for, by, for. Fill it right now. For example, my purpose solves confusion for emerging leaders by teaching clear systems. Or, I solve fear for young mothers by training confidence through wellness. When you can't state it, you can't steward it. In other words, purpose must be written before it can be governed. Habakkuk 2 says, write the vision, make it plain. Plain, not poetic, plain. Law hash 2 is perception. How you interpret determines how you decide. Perception is not a thermometer that reports the temperature. Perception is a thermostat that sets it. Matthew 6:22 says, the lamp of the body is the eye. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. If your perception is healthy, your entire life gets light. The 12 spies saw the same land. 10 saw giants that ate men. 2 saw bread that feeds champions. Numbers 13:14, same scene, different sight. Write this down. You don't live by what you see. You live by how you see. Reverse the verse. If your perception is dark, you will call opportunities threats and label training as torture. Adjust your lens and you adjust your life. Stop reading rejection into redirection. Stop naming pruning as punishment. Romans 8:28 is not mood, it's perspective. All things work together for good to those aligned with purpose. Law #3 is potential. Potential is dormant ability, reserved power, untapped strength, what you could be that you haven't become yet. Unrefined potential is not success. It is a promise waiting on processes. Paul told Timothy, stir up the gift, 2 Timothy 1-6. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him, but only when the man makes room to develop the gift. Let me give you an analogy. A car is designed for a particular fuel. Put diesel in a gasoline engine and you will pray in tongues on the side of the highway. The engine is not evil. The input is illegal. Many of you are feeding your gift with the wrong fuel. Hours of gossip, comparison, and entertainment. Then you wonder why your engine knocks under pressure. Please write this down. Information is fuel. Instruction is oil. Practice is the road. Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, if the iron is blunt, more strength is needed, but wisdom brings success. In other words, sharpen before you swing. Train before you try. Schedule, study, mentorship, rehearsal, and feedback. Luke 2:52 says, Jesus increased in wisdom and stature. Even Jesus grew. What about you? Tie them together now. Purpose is your constitution, what you exist to solve. Perception is your cabinet, the council that interprets every event. Potential is your treasury, the resources you must invest, not admire. Lift your hand and declare, I will discover my purpose, correct my perception, and develop my potential. One more time. Because when these 3 govern your inner world, success stops being a guest and becomes a resident. Now write the sentence, my purpose solved for by, circle it. That's the seed. Your new perception is the soil. Your discipline development is the water. God gives the increase when you give the obedience. Lean in now, write this down and say it back to me. Passion is not emotion. Passion is sustained energy for purpose. What did I say? Passion is fuel for mastery, not fireworks for Instagram. John 2:17 remembers the Messiah. Zeal for your house has consumed me. That's sustained heat, not Sunday hype. Passion is a fire, but fires need fireplaces. Without a fireplace, fire burns the house down. Please write this down. Principles are the fireplace that give passion, direction, protection, and duration. Principles are laws expressed as daily standards. Say that, tweet it. If laws are universal, principles are your personal constitution, your non-negotiables. Daniel, purpose in his heart, Daniel 1-8. That's a principle. Joseph would not violate integrity with Potiphar's wife. That wasn't a mood, it was a standard. Proverbs 11:3 says the integrity of the upright guides them. Guides. In other words, character becomes an attraction system. It magnetizes trust, opportunities, and favor. People don't follow your feelings, they follow your predictability. Write this down. Charisma gets attention. Character gets access. Athletes understand this. You see the trophy on Sunday, but they obey principles Monday through Saturday, sleep schedules, meal plans, drills repeated until muscle memory thinks faster than emotion. Public results are private obedience. Now planning. Everybody say planning. Purpose without a plan is a wish. Passion without a plan is a tantrum. Proverbs 21:5 declares, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Reverse the verse. Haste leads to lack. That's why I keep telling you, the longest way to success is the shortcut. Write it, circle it, and tweet it to 3 procrastinators you love. Planning is not control. Planning is stewardship. Luke 14:28 asks, who intending to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost? Sit down, count. That means calendars, budgets, checklists, rehearsals. A vision without a schedule is a hallucination. Joshua was told to meditate day and night. Then do planning turns meditation into motion. Let me give you a micro CTA because I want traction, not just notes. For the next 7 days, pick one principle, time, excellence, learning, health, or finances, and build a plan you will actually obey. If it's time, set a fixed wake time and a 2-hour deep work block daily, phone outside the room. If it's excellence, choose one deliverable each day and upgrade it by 10%, proofread twice, tighten, design, rehearse once more. If it's learning, 30 minutes daily reading in your field, plus 1 page of notes and 1 action you will test. If it's health, 30 minutes of movement, water target, and no meals after 8 p.m. If it's finances, track every expense, no unplanned spending, and move $10 daily to an emergency fund. Write it down tonight, schedule it, and text it to an accountability partner. Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they agree? Get agreement and start walking. Lift your voice and say it with me. Passion without principles burns out. Planning turns passion into progress. What did I say one more time? Because when passion finds principles and submits to planning, you don't beg for success. You become the kind of person success recognizes on sight. Law #7, write this down, people. Say it back to me. Success is never solo, but it's always selective. What did I say one more time? You can have purpose clarified, perception corrected, potential developed, passion ignited, principles established, and a plan written on beautiful paper. But if your people are wrong, your plan becomes a prison. Ecclesiastes 4:9 declares, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. Good reward. In other words, lawfully chosen relationships multiply lawful effort into lasting influence. Please write this down. Destiny requires 4 relationships: mentors, peers, teams, and proteges. Mentors give you wisdom without the scars. Moses had Jethro. Select able men and appoint them. Exodus 18. That's mentorship, restructuring chaos. Peers sharpen you at your level. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Proverbs 27:17. Teams turn gifts into systems. Jesus had 12 and a 70. He solved the biggest problem with a team. Proteges guarantee continuity. Paul had Timothy, Elijah had Elisha. If you don't pour down, your influence evaporates when you sleep. Let's define influence, because some of you keep calling it popularity. Write this down and tweet it. Influence is when others change their priorities for yours. Say it aloud. Influence is not likes. It's leverage, and it is earned by visible problem solving. David killed Goliath, and suddenly all Israel and Judah loved David. 1 Samuel 18:16. Why? He solved a national problem in public, and people rearranged their calendar to his battles. Solve clear problems consistently, and influence pursues you by law. Now, a warning: tighten your seatbelt. Wrong associations are not bad luck. They are violations of the relationship law. Jonah boarded the wrong boat and a lawful storm invoice. Everyone on deck, Jonah. The sailors didn't commit Jonah's disobedience, but they paid his fare in fear. Some of your turbulence is not demonic, it's demographic. Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. Reverse the verse. Upgrade your companions. Upgrade your conclusions. 1 Corinthians 15:33 adds, bad company corrupts good character. Tweet this. Your company is your prophecy. I want you to run a grid tonight. Write it down right now. 4 columns. Who feeds my purpose? Who drains it? Who challenges it? Who multiplies it? If a name only entertains you but never enlarges you, they belong in the limit access column. If a person drains you, reduce exposure to emergency only. If they challenge you with truth, increase proximity, painful friends, preserve futures. If they multiply you, introduce resource, protect, and promote your assignment, schedule them. Put them on your calendar first. Influence accrues to the one who curates their circle with courage. Let faith meet action. Schedule 1 mentor call per month. Bring questions, not vibes. Form a peer pod. 3 to 5 people committed to deadlines and brutal feedback. Meet bi-weekly. Clarify team roles. No ghosts on the roster. Write names next to tasks. And choose one protege to train what you know. Reproduction protects revelation. Mark 2 shows 4 friends ripping a roof to get a man to Jesus. Relationship became a miracle strategy. Seeing their faith, Jesus responded. Their faith. Sometimes your miracle rides on a friend's stretcher. Lift your voice and declare, I choose my circle by law, not by loneliness. Again, because when the right people meet the right plan, momentum becomes normal. And hear me, as we move next to persistence and perseverance, these relationships become your endurance ecosystem. The promise is not to starters, it is to finishers, and finishers select their people on purpose. Lean in, because when the right people steady your hands, it's time to install the endurance laws. Write this down and say it back to me. The promise is not to the gifted, it's to the finisher. What did I say? One more time. Law hash height is persistence, and law hash 9 is perseverance. Persistence means you keep going despite resistance. Perseverance means you keep going despite delay. In other words, one confronts pressure, the other outlasts the clock. Tweet that to somebody right now. Let's work on persistence first. Resistance is not always a sign you are wrong. It is often proof you are lifting something worth carrying. A gym without weights doesn't build muscle. A life without pressure doesn't build strength. James 1:2-4 says, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so you may be perfect and complete. Write this down. If you abort the test, you abandon the strength. Reverse the verse. If testing produces perseverance, then avoiding testing produces weakness. Oh dear. I guess I'm talking to myself. Are you hearing me? Tweet this. Resistance is confirmation, not condemnation. Now perseverance time becomes your partner. Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season. Galatians 6:9 declares, let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not faint. Circle the phrase due season. Not your ego's season, due season. Reverse the verse. If you faint, you forfeit the season. Please write this down. Harvest is lawful, but it is seasonal. The farmer who understands law doesn't panic when nothing is sprouting on Tuesday. He planted on Monday. Jesus said, the kingdom is like a man who sows seed. Then the earth produces by itself first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain. Stages, stages. In other words, roots grow before results show. This is where shortcuts seduce you. You misinterpret process as punishment. Joseph's coat came early. His crown came through custody and consistency. Genesis 39:41. David's anointing was sudden. His enthronement was scheduled through caves and lions. Even Jesus waited. Luke 3:23. Jesus himself began at about 30 years of age. 30 years of obscurity for 3 years of visibility. Write this down. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Process is not God punishing you. Process is God protecting you from platforming what your character can't carry. Let me give you the seed law as a picture you won't forget. When you plant a seed, the first miracle is underground. The shell breaks, the roots reach, the soil fights back, and the seed pushes anyway. You don't dig up the seed every morning to check on it. That's how you kill it. You water it, you weed it, you wait. Psalm 1 says you are like a tree planted by rivers of water, bringing forth fruit in season. Write this down. Invisible work precedes visible worth. Practice before applause. Roots before fruits. Private obedience before public outcomes. Micro CTA, take your pen now. Choose one area you will not renegotiate for 90 days. Circle it. Skill, practice, health, budget, study, or business outreach. If it's skill practice, 60 focus minutes daily, timer on, phone out, one metric to improve by 1% each session. Health, 30 minutes movement, 8 glasses of water, and sleep by a set time, no excuses. Budget, track every expense, no unplanned purchases, automatic transfer to savings daily. Study, 30 minutes reading plus 15 minutes summarizing, and one application you implement before noon. Business outreach, 5 quality contacts per day, script prepared, follow-up schedule. Write it, schedule it, send it to an accountability partner tonight. No renegotiation clause. Lift your voice and declare, I don't stop, I finish again. Hebrews 10:36 says, you have need of endurance so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. After you have done it, not after you have discussed it. Tweet this. Genius starts things, governors finish them. The law rewards the one who refuses to faint. So set your face like flint, embrace the grind as grace, and let your roots do their holy work, because the promise is not to the gifted, it is to the finisher. Now we secure the anchor. Write this down and say it back to me. Prayer is not a substitute for laws. It is the power that sustains them. What did I say one more time? Some of you have been trying to pray away the consequences of violating laws. Oh, dare. You can pray all night and still bounce a check in the morning if you ignore the law of budgeting. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer. It comes by keeping laws. Prayer empowers you to keep them consistently. Joshua 1-8 is our blueprint. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. You shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do. Then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Reverse the verse. No meditation, no observation, no prosperity, no success. Notice the phrase, you will make your way prosperous. God gave the law, you make the way by obeying it. Prayer is the conversation that clarifies, strengthens, and corrects you so you can do what you already know to do. Please write this down. God doesn't bless disorder, he empowers order. Let all things be done decently and in order, 1 Corinthians 14:40. God is not the author of confusion, 1 Corinthians 14:33. In other words, prayer isn't divine permission for chaos, it is divine power for structure. When you pray, you don't ask God to ignore your schedule, you ask him to order your steps. Psalm 119-133. To cut what is clutter, to crown what is essential, to align your calendar with your calling. Tweet this. Prayer doesn't cancel consequences, it calibrates conduct. Now let me define prayer the way finishers use it. Prayer is relationship, wisdom, and strength. Relationship. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Psalm 139-23. That's where correction lives. He adjusts motives before they ruin methods. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and it will be given. James 1-5. You're not just asking for a miracle, you're asking for a method. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40-31. You still do the reps, but prayer renews your breath. Philippians 2:13 seals it. It is God who works in you, both to will and to do. Write this down. Prayer ignites your will and fuels your do. Micro CTA, pray like a governor, not a beggar. Here's your 1 5-minute template for the next 30 days. Minutes 1-3, gratitude and worship anchor identity. Seek first the kingdom, Matthew 6:33. Minutes 4-6, meditate one law and one verse, read Joshua 1-8 style until a verb tells you what to do today. Minutes 7-9, agenda alignment, read your plan aloud. Ask, Lord, what do I cut, keep, or commit? Write it. Minutes 10-12, courage and confession, declare, I am disciplined, I finish, I walk in integrity, and ask for boldness to confront hard tasks. Minutes 13-15, intercede for your people, mentors, peers, team, protege, call them by name, ask for unity, wisdom, and open doors. Watch and pray, Matthew 26-41. Then work the plan. Lift your voice and declare, prayer sustains my obedience. It does not replace it. Again, because now that the 10 laws are installed, prayer becomes the daily power source that keeps the engine firing, purpose clear, perception clean, potential cultivated, passion focused, principles guarded, plans executed, people selected, persistence active, perseverance steady, and prayer fueling them all. From here, we convert these laws into a daily identity system so success stops visiting and starts living at your address. Now we convert laws into lifestyle. Write this down. Attraction is an operating system, not a mood. What did I say? Say it back to me. Success is not chasing you. It is waiting on your rhythms. Deuteronomy 6:7 says, talk about the laws when you sit, when you walk, when you lie down, when you rise. In other words, install them in your mornings, your movements, your evenings, your everything. Morning is input, never start empty. Mark 1:35 says Jesus rose a great while before day to pray. So you begin with word and wisdom, 10 minutes in scripture for law, 10 minutes in learning for skill. Joshua 1-8, meditate day and night so you may do. Reverse the verse. No meditation, no doing. No doing, no success. Then a focus work block, one lawfully chosen task that move your assignment, 90 minutes, distractions deleted, phone in exile. Tweak this. Feelings follow focus. Noon is relationship touch points, mentors, peers, team, protege, one call, one check-in, one reply that multiplies effort. Evening is review and planning. Psalm 90-12, teach us to number our days, count what you did, correct what you missed, and schedule tomorrow before sleep. A.M. Calibrate. P.M. Consolidate. Please write this down. Conduct a law audit every Sunday. Where am I violating principles? Time, am I late, scattered, double booked? Integrity, did I say it and not do it? Excellence, am I submitting average work with spiritual excuses? Health, am I stewarding sleep, food, and movement, or praying against consequences I'm creating? Stewardship, did every dollar an hour receive an assignment? 1 Corinthians 9:27, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. Discipline is a law. Regret is a penalty. Repent fast, repair fast, and reset standards. Now, environment design, Hebrews 12:1 says, lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily besets. Some of your battles aren't demonic, they're in your drawer. Remove friction for lawful habits. Set your Bible and notebook on the desk. Clothes and shoes laid out for exercise. Water bottle filled. Task list printed. Calendar open to deep work. Add friction to unlawful patterns. Log out of social apps. Move junk food out of the house. Put the TV remote in the trunk. Install website blockers. Keep your phone charging in another room at night. Put a book on your pillow so your last act is growth. Guard your gates, Proverbs 4:23. Environment is silent enforcement. Let's do call and response until it lives in you. I don't chase success. I practice laws. Success follows me. Again, louder. I don't chase success. I practice laws. Success follows me. Psalm 23 says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Follow who? The one walking in law. Micro CTA starts your 10P checklist for 14 days. Purpose, perception, potential, passion, principles, planning, people, persistence, perseverance, prayer. Make a simple grid. Each day tick compliance, not feelings. Did I state purpose? Yes, no. Did I correct perception? Yes, no. Did I develop potential? Yes, no. Down to prayer. Feelings are weather. Laws are climate. Track obedience. Let emotions catch up. Galatians 6-9. Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. Systems beat moods, seasons reward systems. Now go install the operating system and let success do what it was designed to do, follow the lawful. Lift your head and hear your commissioning. Write this down and say it back to me. Stop wishing, start governing. What did I say? Again, you came hoping for a break, you are leaving as a builder. Jesus said, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. Matthew 7:24. Built, not begged. Rock, not rumors. In other words, success is not luck. Success is law. Tweet this right now. Success is predictable. One more. You don't break laws, laws break you. And circle this forever. The longest way to success is the shortcut. I am commissioning you from consumer to governor. Governors don't chase trends, they enforce statutes. Joshua 1-8 is not a suggestion, it is a system. Meditate, observe, do. Then you will make your way prosperous and have good success. Reverse the verse and you see the consequence. So today, say today, choose one law to obey immediately. Planning. Open your calendar and block tomorrow's 90-minute deep work window toward your assignment. Phone out, timer on, 1 deliverable. Principles. Write 3 non-negotiables for your integrity: time, excellence, truth. Sign it, date it, tape it where you see it. People, send 2 texts, 1 to upgrade proximity to a wise mentor and 1 to limit access to a draining companion. Clear, kind, lawful. Persistence. Pick the hard task you've been avoiding and do 60 focused minutes before you sleep. No negotiations. Write it down, send it to somebody, teach it to your children, make it law in your house. Deuteronomy 6:7 says to talk of these laws when you sit, when you walk, when you lie down, and when you rise. In other words, saturate your culture until your children think laws are normal and luck is weird. Lift your voice and declare, I don't chase success, I practice laws, success follows me. Again, louder. Psalm 23 says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Follow who? The one walking in law. Say this with me. I am a governor, not a gambler. I am disciplined, not distracted. I finish, I do not faint. Galatians 6:9, in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Due season comes to those who do laws in every season. Now receive this blessing. May the Lord teach you his statutes and make your feet like flint. May you have courage to obey when it's costly, patience for process when it's quiet, and wisdom to walk precisely in purpose. May you be like a tree planted by rivers of water, roots deep, fruit in season, leaf that does not wither. Psalm 1. May he establish the work of your hands. Psalm 90:17. Order your steps in his word. Psalm 119 to 133. And let goodness and mercy track you down. Every day you govern yourself by principles. Go now, stop wishing, start governing, and let your life produce what laws always promise: predictable success that becomes your fruit.